How
Going
you
on,
doing, man?
special
What's
guest,
up? What's
Mr.
up,
Jerry.
bud?
Going on, G?
How are you?
Good, man. Stoked to be here.
I love it. Well, Cooper, we've had you on a bunch of times over the last few years. You've been a great guest of the show. You had a big announcement, I believe, was it earlier this week, last week, around the new version of the Coop Records Launchpad. Can you kind of catch us up on the journey so far?
Of course. Well, first of all, welcome back from base camp, Jess. Saw you were out there running it up, moderating a few panels there. It looked beautiful. So hope you had a safe travel back from one side of the world to the other.
Thriving off caffeine, baby.
Let's go. Let's go. So yeah, I wanted to come on today because we launched a new version of Coop Records. For those who aren't familiar, it's a music launchpad. We basically help artists sell their music on chain. And we basically launched a new version that combines all of our 3 years of doing NFTs with our last 6 months of launching coins, and kind of found this model that we think is really beneficial both for artists and also really conducive for token buyers, degens, whatever you want to call them. So happy to unpack and go into it, but feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah, I mean, this is sort of a journey of market creation, technology, and exploration. So I think that's kind of the core insight here is that you guys have repackaged those lessons together and I think a fairly novel mechanism here. So can you maybe break that down for us?
Sure. I think, as we all know, it's very much a coin-centric market these days. And so we are one who believe very much in meme coins, the advantage of being able to bet on music in some way, shape, or form. But, I think the reality is that for these long tail creators, it's very difficult to generate enough volume to actually give them a sustainable earning. And so we basically found that the economics around collectibles are much better for artists. But as we all know, the NFTs aren't cool anymore. And so people don't really just want to like ape NFTs for no reason. And so being able to reposition the offerings so that these songs start out as pre-sales, as collectibles, and then eventually graduate to coins once they have enough volume, it's kind of been able to allow us to get those artists paid up front a lot more handsomely during the early stages. But then in the event there is a song that goes viral and actually has some demand, you can then sort of kick in the trading phase of coins that I think we all know and love. So it's definitely been quite a process. I think that there's been a lot of iterations of NFTs and coins before with things like 404s and whatnot, but I feel like the version that we have now, it's really taken a lot of those learnings and kind of fused it into something that feels good for us.
So how many of these artists like conversations are you, because someone like you has been doing this now for years and has always been on the forefront of it. How much of it is still education with these artists to kind of like talk them through what these opportunities are, why it's valuable to do something additive compared to what they've been doing before? Or, nowadays, is it more so like artists are familiar with the space, they get excited about it, they want to experiment, and it hits a certain profile?
I would say it's like 95% education. I think that vast majority of artists have never touched crypto before. In the event they have touched crypto, it's basically that they bought some NFTs a few times in 2021 and haven't opened MetaMask since then. And so for us, it's definitely starting from square one. And what we found is that getting artists to be able to sell a collectible where someone buys it for $1 and gets a download is a very easy sell. Getting an artist to launch a coin that is volatile where their fans could potentially lose money is a very different conversation. And so what I found is when we started to launch these song coins, going back to the same artists and label partners that we'd done hundreds of collectibles with, they were just like, okay, let's take this back to the team. They would talk to the artist, they would talk to management, I would talk to the artist, and they would just be like, is this gambling? And I would have to sit there and just kind of explain to them like all of the pros and cons of it, what comes with it, the opportunity that there is for more volume and more earnings. But it was just a tough sell, being really direct. And so being able to reposition this as, hey, this is the same collectible that we've always done before, but now there's just this added layer of trading when a song gets enough demand. It allowed us to get a lot more artists comfortable with it and over the edge. And I think having this automatic graduation and pipeline, it actually is a lot more intriguing to buyers of these songs. I think before the experience was a little bit too disconnected. And I think now we're starting to see a lot more organic demand for the collectibles because I think people realize that the coins are where the magic is. But it's actually cool to see people coming in and buying 25, 50, 100 editions of a collectible. Whereas before, people would only ever come in and just buy one edition to get the download, get the loyalty points. So it's early stages, but we're starting to see some positive signs that people are really into this new model.
All right, so you're 5 days in. You kind of alluded to some of the progress being made there, but how are things going so far?
Pretty solid. I would say in the past, we were doing about 1 to 2 new coin launches every Friday, basically just handpicking songs that are in our back catalog or going to new artists and saying, hey, can we launch a coin for this song? And like I said, it was difficult. But since Friday, we've had 5 coins graduate on the site so far. And so nothing too crazy, but definitely, 2 or 3x the amount of coins that we've been launching in the past. And I think now we're basically in this phase where we took all of our old songs and marked them as legacy on the site. So all the 800 plus songs we had before, we don't just want to just automatically launch coins for them. We kind of earmarked them as these old collectibles that won't graduate. And now we're starting to pull some of those bigger songs from the back catalog back into the new format so that people have like a new chance to engage with them in this format that I think is a lot more appetizing than what we had in the past.
Are the artists marketing this on their own, like outside of you? Like is there something that like Coop Records does and then you help push? And then are you seeing them do anything interesting in terms of carrying that as well, or they lean on you?
They just lean on us. I think right now we're still in the crypto only phase of this. And I think I've seen a lot of discussion about this, but I think the sequence here is like win over crypto natives first and then go and try and get real people. And so we're still in the phase of winning over the crypto natives. And so with that being said, I'm very direct with artists that them marketing this to their fans is probably going to do more harm than good. I think that the product needs to be able to support real fans in a way that feels easy to use. And I think that there needs to be an understanding and a desire for those fans to participate before the artist should go and market it. And so I think that we're about a month or so away from being in the App Store, from having this really easy onboarding flow. But that to me is kind of day one of being able to get some of these real fans into the playground, let's call it. But I'm still really sensitive to just all of the volatility and all of the weird stuff that comes with being in the crypto world. So I think it's very much a case by case basis.
So I saw this really great reply to your announcement from King of Spades. He says, I actually see this taking off, but isn't this like your third attempt at building an on-chain music app? And your response was probably like the fifth or sixth, and realistically, probably another 5 or 6 iterations before it really clicks for everyone beyond crypto. And King of Spades responds, I'm 20 now. First saw what you were doing when I was 17. This dedication is incredible, and honestly, I think this one's going to take off. At least a wish of mine is really cool. I don't know. Maybe comment on where you are in this process, and what another 5 or 6 iterations might be like before this really takes off.
I think first signs of real life. I think that I've gotten to a point now where I'm able to post about this on Instagram and not feel ashamed of it. And when I make a reel talking about what we're doing, being able to buy in early to songs, people understand what that is. And they've had those ideas before. They just might not have been able to execute on it. And I think that for me, the vision of what this was and was always clear. But I just think we've had so much friction with all of the rails and the products being in a good spot and people finding these things valuable. And so, yeah, I think to your point about it being 5 or 6 times, it's like, what this started out as a music NFT platform in 2021 is very different from sort of where this is today. But that's only the tip of the iceberg, because at the end of the day, you're still just buying a meme coin. And I think that for most people in the real world, they're like, why would I buy something that has no intrinsic value to it? And so a lot of what we're starting to think about now is like, how do you actually back these things with underlying value from the royalties that these song generates? How do you actually give these coins to people for doing real world actions? And I think that the part that we're trying to get to is that we can leverage the coins that we've created to impact a song in the real world. So how can you give a fan some coins for pre-saving a song on Spotify or making a video on TikTok? And I think that second category around using coins to incentivize short form content feels really exciting to me, because that's just the name of the game in content creation in general. And I think that we have this like really cool leverage point to be able to do something unique. So that's where a lot of my time and energy has been focused lately.
All right, last question, because I got to let you go here. And what is your very, very short hot take on Base launching a token?
Q2 2026. I don't really have a hot take, man. Honestly, I think it's a long time coming. I was genuinely surprised by it, but I'm excited, and let's see what happens.
Love it. That's short and sweet. Coop, love checking in with you, man. Congrats on the launch. Excited to see where this goes. And I'm sure we'll be chatting with you again soon on iteration 42 of Coop Records.
You know it.
Congrats, Coop.
Thanks, buddy.
Appreciate you.